Hi, so I'm Dulce, and this is my Afras 140 video about social injustices. The topic I chose to cover was colorism, and it's something that's believed to be first created by Alice Walker, and she defined it as the prejudicial and preferential treatment of same-race people based solely on their color. So within my video, I tried to focus it on Hispanic and Asian communities, not to disregard other communities because it is an issue within those as well. But as I went on, it kind of became a generalized interview on colorism with just a small focus on the communities. But nonetheless, it is about colorism. So yeah, let's just get into the interviews.
I think colorism, it's kind of like racism, except that, like, instead of judging someone based on their race, you're judging them based on the color of their skin.
It sounds a little bit sort of like racism, so I'm just gonna go it's near that.
I think colorism is just judging someone based off their skin tone. Like if they're light skin or dark skin, they just judge you on that.
I think colorism has to do with the skin, like maybe like around racism or something.
I think colorism is, I don't know, like discrimination, like with your skin color.
I think racism is more based on judging someone based on their race and where they come from, whereas colorism, it's more based on the color of their skin.
Colorism is basically discrimination against one's skin tone color, and racism is discrimination with someone else's, or discrimination based on race.
Racism is more rude and hatred towards a specific race of any kind, like a white guy to a black guy. Best example I can give. Colorism is basically being nice to a person because their skin color is slightly closer to yours than others.
To me, they kind of still sound like the same, but I think I understand more that colorism is more about the skin. Then again, that's racism because people are racist to other races. I don't know.
I think racism is oppression from different races, whereas colorism is just based solely on your look and your skin tone.
The only example I can think of is in the Philippines. They if you're from the mountainous region, you're expected to have darker skin rather than the light skin people. Like my mom's more light skinned than my dad, so.
I think so. I think I have seen a couple times at the supermarket. It's a Mexican Latino supermarket, and I have seen two Mexican ladies be there. They're both Mexican clearly, but one was lighter than the other one, and she got help before the one that was a little bit darker.
Personally, I think colorism depends on where you're at. For me, it depends where I'm at. Like here, I feel like I don't face a lot of colorism, but when I go to my parents' origin country, everybody's much darker, and then there's me, which to some people I may just look like another brown person, but to them I'm extremely lighter compared to everybody else, and then they look at me differently because of my skin tone color.
Well, in when it comes to casting in movies and TV shows, I believe if a casting director has a specific type of person in mind, then I believe skin color could be deeply affected in that process.
I think based on how they're casted, more light-skinned people are more prone to I guess win Academy Awards, and then the dark-skinned people are less likely, well, you could see less likely to win something or be casted or play in a background position in movies, TV shows, or music videos and stuff.
I think especially in the earlier days, how colorism was so we were more exposed to the lighter skinned actors and actresses and models, but now it's more widely diverse. But I think back then it was more focused on the lighter skinned people. initial thoughts were like, wow, diversity. Like Hollywood is finally casting like Asian actors to be more exposed to people. But then after looking at the cast, it's more like light-skinned Asians, and so like the dark-skinned Asians don't really have that representation. So like, is it really representation?
It's mostly light-skinned Asians, whereas I guess a more diverse group would be like dark-skinned Asians, such as myself.
That for the most part, the main actresses, if not all of them on the main poster, are like light-skinned or have lighter hair, even though these novelas are Latin American.
The stars, usually the main actress, usually are light-skinned with color eyes, young and beautiful.
And then, can you tell me any differences between the typical star of the novela and the helping cast?
The helping cast is usually a little bit more darker skinned people. They make them look like a little bit lower class.
The main actresses are usually always light-skinned, lighter hair, or they have an image of like beauty in their viewpoint. I don't know how to say that. And then the helping people, usually like the maids and the drivers and whatnot, are more realistic figures of like Hispanics and Latinos.
I think colorism promotes like to be lighter skinned. Like when I was 12, I went to the Philippines, and when I went to the stores there was a lot of skin lightening products, and it really surprised me because I thought that for you to be like considered pretty or like beautiful, you had to be light skinned.
Like to have beauty face, or the image that you would want to achieve, is like they glorify light-skinned people, even if they're Latino or Hispanic. It's like it's good to be lighter skinned, and like the perfect image is like to have lighter hair or nice, sun-kissed, if anything, skin tone. I don't know.
Well, I think that makes a lot of us want to be with blonde hair, color eyes, so we buy contacts to hide our brown eyes. A lot of the news people on TV, on the Mexican channels or Latino channels, they are usually with blonde hair, really light skinny girls, or light skinned men. I have seen in the stores now that they have like bleaching creams, like porcelana, to make your skin a little bit lighter, which I don't think that's okay.
Yes, because I think when it comes to like the Academy Award winners, or like the Oscars, or like the VMAs, or whatever type of award show, you're always hearing like this person won for this category, and they're the first, like black person to win this, versus someone who is light skinned will just be like, oh, this is just a regular standard that light skinned people are just prone to like win and stuff. So I think just colorism in that category just says it all.
Yes, because I think that most of the people we see that are wealthy and successful, they're mainly light-skinned, and I think that's due to probably like history. Like lighter-skinned people always had kind of the upper hand, and so it's harder for like the darker-skinned people to get to that point.
No, I don't know what it is.
Passing? No. Yes, I think so. I think they would be more, I think they would get hired more easily than a person that's darker skin.
I think it does, especially if you are considered passing and you are getting an education and bettering yourself. I feel like the appeal that you give to other people as a white person gives you a one-up on life in general.
I don't really know. Since I just got introduced to this just like now, I don't have like enough information to like figure something out.
I think we can start putting people of darker skin tones on TV, on the magazines, on telenovelas. That way, we're not just focused on those light-skinned people.
I'm not really sure, because people don't really know what colorism is. Like, for me, I didn't know exactly what it was until I heard the definition of it. I think it just has to take time. Like, people need to be aware of what they say, and it just has to evolve for people to, like, understand and stuff. Yeah.
Honestly, at this point, I don't think it's possible. Especially, like, us as a minority, like Hispanics and African Americans, you'd think that we face so much colorism that we wouldn't project that onto our own race, but we do. Like, we use colorism within ourselves sometimes. So I don't think it's possible to ever go back on that.
I think it's gonna be hard to fight colorism. I think we all just need to have an open mind about things, because I think no matter what, we're all just gonna have like predisposed judgments about people. So I think going into things with open minds would really help.
So that was my video on colorism. Thank you, first of all, for listening. Second of all, after reflecting on the interviews and like the answers I was given, I kind of realized that it wasn't really giving the full image of colorism that I wanted it to. It was clear that the people I was interviewing, like, I don't blame them, because it's a new concept to me as well, but it was hard for them to distinguish between colorism and racism, which is a big point I wanted to make, that there is a difference and they're two completely separate issues. So that's something to keep in mind. And if you're to take anything away from my interviews, is to really inform yourself about what colorism is, because it's something that we should be aware of and try as a society and as people to fight it.